Assalamu alaikum. Maybe we should get into, I don't know, bro. I don't even know if you got anything to share about Eid. Anything interesting happened?
God, yeah, we go far back, don't we?
Yeah.
Eid.
I think
Let me
about a couple
think.
of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I went down there, marched with my musketeers, all four of them.
He took them all to Eid Salah, yeah?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
We didn't have much family. Well, my father-in-law came. We brought my father-in-law down, so he went to Eid with us. He was out in the park.
That's nice.
Yeah,
South, yeah?
down south, yeah, in Brighton.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
You have Eid with your mom, your sisters, etc., right, as well?
Yeah, my sister came actually to the house as well. My mum was in Morocco, and my other sister's in London, obviously.
Okay.
Right, Berwick.
Oh, so your
She's
mum
got
wasn't there.
no, my mum wasn't with us. So
I,
yeah, a lot.
I find that to be the biggest difference. Like, there are two types of Eids.
Mm,
Well, there are three, okay? There's a family Eid, which, should be the standard and it's the best Eid. And like, when I say family Eid, I mean, like, when you've got, like, more than obviously just your, like, parents or brothers, sisters, like, you've got
yeah,
some aunts, some cousins. So that's numero uno. Then you've got, like, friends Eid, right? That's
yeah,
like when I was in Turkey, I don't really have family, but I've got some friends.
right, yeah,
And then the third type, which I've probably had quite a few of, is where it's just like you're literally like nuclear family and nothing else really.
mm,
But yeah, the family one is a good one. But in Algeria, I don't know if it's always been like this, but people don't really link up on the first day of Eid much.
mm,
Because on Eid al-Adha is because they're busy with the sheep, slaughtering you,
right, yep,
cleaning the stomach, all that stuff that they do.
yeah.
So we kind of followed that this year. And then it was like second, third day of Eid where we went and visited my aunts, uncles.
Yeah. I've always wondered what Eid's like in the city, like in a Muslim country, because
I don't think it's too different.
well, no, only because even a city or town, like any Muslim country I've had Eid at, has always been quite rural. So
Yeah.
the whole
I think
slaughtering and stuff is very spaced out.
the
Everyone's
rural
far apart.
the rural comes to the city for Eid, I
Really?
think.
Yeah.
Because I was, it's my first Eid. It's not my first Eid I've had in Algeria, but it's my first one. I'm living here and stuff. And it's my first in the capital.
Mm,
And wallah, bro, the capital of Algeria, it's one big village, you know what I mean? It's not
yeah.
really like, it doesn't have those features of a big city per se. So, for
Right.
example, in the days leading up to Eid, everyone's just walking around with sheep. The people selling sheep on the side of the road, like,
Right.
the smell of sheep's droppings fills the air,
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like, if I feel like it's kind of rural in that sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people literally, people will bring the sheep to their house the day before Eid or even before that. If they're living in an apartment, they'll just put it on the balcony. You know what I mean?
Yes. I've
They'll
seen.
slaughter on the balcony. They keep it on the balcony. My neighbors, we have like these stairs that go up into our apartment building. So they
Yeah.
put their sheep under those stairs for like 3 days before Eid. And so they're just living there. It's a free for all, bro. There's no
Absolutely.
rules. There's no rules. But contrast that with the UAE, where even if you're in a more rural area, there's just loads of rules, bro. Not like, as
Mm,
far as I understand, like I never slaughtered in UAE, and growing up in UAE, I remember back in the day, I'm talking about probably 2003 or something like that. I remember once we slaughtered in the street, like literally, there was a guy, I think it's Palestinian, and people would bring their sheep to him. You could go to literally the livestock market, you buy your sheep, put it on a truck, bring it to him. He'll slaughter it literally in his, not a garden per se, but in his front,
yeah.
in front of his house on the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he'll slaughter it. He'll hang it up on a random tree on the street. There'll be literally guts and just thrown in the street. Like, this is the UAE in the good days, I would call it. Yeah, the good days of UAE, where it was just free and like there weren't like loads of rules. Then
Yeah.
I don't know when it was, but probably quite a while ago now, maybe 15 years ago, there was all these rules about, okay, you can only slaughter in official government sanctioned slaughterhouses. And
Right.
they just kind of professionalized everything. So from then on, I feel like it was just like, okay, you kind of, it's like going to a supermarket. You kind of,
Really?
you kind of just buy the sheep, then the guy slaughters it, he cuts it up, and he just gives you the meat. And, you know, there's not that, bro, there's not that vibe. It's like
Yeah.
really different, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Um,
do wonder what's better in terms of like Islamically, in terms of, you know, wanting to have ihsan in everything. Like if you were running a country, would you professionalize, or would you, like, I don't know where.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got the whole hygiene aspect and that kind of thing.
yeah.
And yeah, it's tough. It's a tough quandary. Not that tough that I need to think about it too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
But
Well, what's the problem with the Algerian model, let's say?
yeah, I don't know.
What's
I'm
the
trying to
problem
think
with
what
it?
they try and eliminate by doing that. Like,
Like, obviously, there is the problem of people throwing sheep's guts in the street,
mm,
people filling the bins with like guts and stuff.
yeah,
That's not good. But you could fix that by having a special aid bin pickup service or something,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, if you really
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to.
yeah, of
So
course.
I don't see a big issue with it, to be honest. Like I left the city for Eid. I came back
Yeah,
like 10 days later and there was no sign of any sheep. You know, everything's been
absolutely.
cleaned up. And
Absolutely.
so,
I mean, in the rural areas, it's quite, you know, I mean, there's fields and all sorts of stuff, and there's so many wild dogs and wild cats and God knows what else
yeah,
that eat stuff. And, you know, and a lot of, to be fair, a lot of the animal is eaten, at least in our cultures. You
or
know, the
tons of it.
guts, the, you know, intestines are cleaned out and used for all
Yeah,
sorts
yeah.
of dishes. You know, there's nothing really left behind. Everything's pretty much, you know, the head is يشوي الراس and everything. الكرعين, الباصوص, everything, baby. Everything's getting eaten.
Yeah.
So, so there isn't much waste, really. Even the bones at the end are given to the dogs, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. And I learned this year that, I don't know if it's probably the same in Tunisia. What the first thing people eat on Eid is liver,
yeah,
right?
okay. I didn't know.
Why is that? It's because when you got the sheep, so you slaughter the sheep, you skin it,
Yes.
and then you hang it up, right? When you
Yes.
hang it up, what do you do next? You basically cut it open. When you cut it open, all the insides come out.
Mm,
What is the most accessible, ready to eat thing in the sheep is the liver. It's just
yeah.
there. You just cut it up and fry it,
Yeah.
and it's good.
It's
Um,
fascinating.
Whereas like the stomach, you have to clean it, you know.
Mm.
The head, you have to, I think they cook it for quite a while.
Yeah,
Um,
they have to. Yeah.
and then the actual meat, again, you probably like slow cook it or whatever. So the liver's just like there ready to
Well,
go.
they have to drain it as well, don't they? Drain it blood for
Yeah.
however long. That's why they
Yeah,
keep that.
the actual meat itself,
Mm,
yeah, that you kind of leave it for a while. And the
mm,
thing that you can access right away is the innards, all the innards. So I that only clicked in my head this year. And it's interesting, bro. Like, you know, like in the West, what do people want to eat? They want to eat like the minced meat. They want to eat steaks,
mm,
like stuff
mm,
with no bones, like no
mm.
bones, no fat, just like, you know.
Yep.
Um, Whereas I was in the butcher today here and I'm looking at the prices and I'm like, mincemeat, for example, is about 2,000 dinars per kilo.
Okay.
And then like liver is like 7,000, you know,
Right.
like, and then
Really?
the stomach is like, I don't know, 5,000. Like it's all more expensive than just the mincemeat,
Wow.
you know, it's
Okay.
more, I don't know, more sought after. I suppose you could argue it's purer because like mincemeat, you can mix fat with
All
it.
sorts. Hmm.
But yeah, interesting. But I like that, bro. Like, I brought my sons to watch the slaughter, because my uncle and cousin, they were slaughtering in their house. So I couldn't buy a sheep this year because I wasn't sure where I would be, which city I would be in. So I
Mm.
did it abroad or whatever this year. But I really wanted to like make sure I was in my dad's hometown where all my family is for Eid. So we made it happen. And then I brought my kids. So they saw the slaughter happen. And I was like thinking, should I let them see the full slaughter? Should I just let them see afterwards? What should I do? Anyway, I just let them see it. They didn't flinch, bro. It's like seemed very normal,
Yeah.
I think. But what I made sure to point out to them, I said, look, that, you see how he just slit his throat and blah, blah, blah? I'm like, Salam alaikum, Mind Heist listeners. I've got a brand new YouTube channel that I've just launched and it gone off to a bang. And it's all about hijrah, global living as a Muslim. I've lived, alhamdulillah, in 4 different Muslim countries, although I was born in the UK. So if you're interested in that at all, you're either living abroad or you're thinking of making the move, then check out the link in the description for my YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoy and benefit. Unlike that, that's how you eat meat every day. You eat chicken,
Yeah.
that happened. You eat beef,
Yeah.
you're killed. So I just tried to make that connection and stuff. And yeah, they didn't flinch. I think it's very normal, you know.
Yeah.
I
But
remember I have a memory, you know, when I told about in UAE, someone doing it in front of their house, whatever. I think that was the first time I saw sheep being slaughtered. Maybe I was 10 or something, I'm not sure. And I remember feeling sick. That's all I remember.
really.
I remember feeling sick and like I guess it was new to me. But if you saw it from age, like literally my younger son is 4, you know, if you see it from age 4 and then you see it every year from age 4, I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, I think my earliest memory is probably 4 years old. It was a wedding though. It was in Morocco, and it was a cow.
Oh, wow.
But I think it's catch-22 because although I feel like I remember it, there's also a video of it happening. So it's like whether I remember studying this in psychology. It's like, do you remember it, or did you see a photo or a video? And that's and I remember learning in psychology that if your memory of it is in third person, then it's not actually a memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, in the video at least, I was cheering and like clapping when it happened. I remember like shouting "Bravo!" So I guess kids are just kids, man. But I'm thinking like my kids now. I think they'd probably have an emotional reaction, despite the fact that they're big meat eaters and stuff. I think they'd probably have a bit, but that's because they're very they've got that Western element of not harming animals and whatever, that kind of narrative in their head. But we'll see. You never know. We'll see. I mean, we did it in Tunisia once, but Suleiman would have been so young, and I don't even think he saw. I did it myself actually, and I wasn't even expecting it. It was like a last minute. Here's a knife. I was like, whoa.
I know one there.
Yeah. He was like, here's a knife. I don't know where my dad went, and then the guy that was helping me just sort of quick 101 tutorial, like right there and then.
My uncle did that to me this year, but I was like wearing like white clothes. I'm like, yeah, it's not a good idea.
No. But yeah, it's good.
Why do you think they would have an emotional reaction? I also teach my kids that stuff. Like, you know, for example, when the sheep is still alive, like when the sheep were here, my neighbor's sheep, my kids were out there playing with it and stuff. And then I think one of them told on the other, he's like, oh, he was hitting it with a stick. And I'm like,
oh no,
no, man, don't hit it. He said, oh, the other boys told me to hit it. They're getting him to do their dirty work. So, you know, I teach them these things, but
I think it's just the assumption because you like my kids haven't seen that level of violence, and I say violence very loosely. It's not violence, but like blood to that extent, or something dying in front of them. Like they haven't necessarily, and especially like if it's having a spasm or whatever, it might happen afterwards. I don't know how they'd all react. I think Suleiman would put a braver face on the eldest. Ilyas is the one who's a little bit more touchy with things, and then Khalil would look to his older brother and be like, oh, he's okay, I'm okay. Like that's the kind of mentality he's got. But it's interesting, and you'll know yourself. Just you can be in the same household, have the same rules, use the same kind of logic when trying to raise your kids, but they'll all have different personalities and different ways of dealing with things.
Sensitivity and stuff.
Exactly. And, I saw that really in action yesterday, not to sidestep too much, but they had their first boxing lesson. Like I put them in a boxing club, and I've been meaning to put them in something a bit, they're boisterous and they need to let their energy out, but also they need to learn how to channel that kind of energy and that need to defend themselves and whatever. And even like the instructor was pretty good. He's Muslim brother from the masjid, and he's like, oh, bring even the 3-year-old along. I was like, oh, are you sure? Like he's like, yeah, just do it. So we had him there as well. And it's just like, okay, so they man the eldest, he's taking it super seriously, bro. He's got the look. He just wants to he started doing push-ups and sit-ups before he even left. They're at that age now where they're like looking in the mirror, comparing muscles, all of them. Like they just want to get really big, and it's
Okay.
hilarious. It's hilarious. Honestly, they're competing and stuff. And then, but even Ilyas, who's a little bit on the softer side, he was quite eager to go, and I was really proud of him. But you can just see like who's got like Suleiman has got the motivation, not necessarily the natural talent, but the motivation, and he's wanted to go for it. Ilyas doesn't have the talent, probably lacks the motivation a little bit, but he's still persevering, which is really out of character. And I think he's having a bit of a development change there, which is great. And then you got Khalid, who's just like, bro, he's like, I don't know, it comes naturally to him. It's crazy. As a 3-year-old, like he's doing the trying to do front flips and back flips and all this stuff, and he's just doing it without any, hindrance whatsoever. And obviously later he just started crawling, so maybe he's still got some time to go.
That's good.
But yeah, it's hard, isn't it, to have this many kids and not speak about them every 24/7. I'm one of those guys that has photos. I'll be like, oh look at this photo of my boy. Look, it's so funny. Oh shit. Anyway,
Yeah, I am.
it's hard when you get to this age, but I'm sure you're going to be a bit like that now, aren't you? So
I am. Just another topic I got into in the
Yeah.
last month is cars,
Okay.
but like from a very
Boom, boom.
geeky point of view.
Okay.
So, how do I say? Because I was buying a car, and I was like researching stuff, and then I got into like this whole EV hybrid petrol.
Oh,
It's very
yeah.
interesting, bro. Just the way it's one of those technologies that is it's quite mind-boggling how it works, especially like on hybrids, like
Okay.
how they cycle between using the electric motor, using the petrol, and how the petrol charges the battery. It's very interesting anyway. And I noticed in the UK, like obviously they push, they encourage people to get EVs and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
But I suppose yourself, you never really consider that because it's the type of thing that mostly if you're buying a new car, probably you would look into.
Yeah. I mean, the infrastructure is not really here as much as they want it to be. So my line of work at the moment does kind of cross over this sort of stuff,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting. And like they're pushing for like having charge points in street lights and charge points in all these places. But the way that obviously towns and cities are built doesn't necessarily account for this. You're pretty much okay if you've got a driveway and you've got your own house to charge it and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see like there's so much red tape and so much like you've got to think about, okay, where's the electricity coming from and to charge all these cars on the street, and how long is someone going to be parked in these charge points, and does that affect the parking in a particular area, and are these cables that go into cars trip hazards, and who's liable if someone trips on one? Is it the person charging the car? Is it, you know what I mean? All these companies, and like
admin. That's
yes,
politics. That's government.
that's politics. But this is it, and it's fascinating because people just say, "Oh, just do this,"
Yeah.
and then like they don't know what that means, and you see a lot of that lately with not to track again, but like Reform and these right wing parties that are gaining popularity. Obviously, 90% of the people within those organizations and those groups have never been in any level of government or authority whatsoever. So the moment they do get in, or like there's been some city councils where they've gotten into power, and it's just been shambolic. Like they just don't know what they're doing, and then everything starts breaking down, and they refuse to be taught because they think that whoever's teaching them is part of the previous establishment and all this stuff. And it's that society in decline, very up in your face.
It sounds kind of like the Trump government, right? Because
Yeah,
what's supposed to happen, I think, is that you have the politicians and then you have the experts in the field.
yeah,
The experts will brief the politicians and say, okay, so this is the situation, this is our options. This
Yes.
option has this pro and this con, and this one has this pro and this con. And then, the politician will become quite, try to understand and then make the
Yeah.
decision based on that. But what you see with, for example, Trump is that he doesn't seem to either have the experts in his camp or he doesn't listen to them.
Yeah, yeah.
He has no background in military strategy, etc., but he will make the decisions like the military,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's obviously where things go wrong.
Yeah. And it's easy to like, it's easy to shift stuff from, you know, like government bodies and move it to like stuff that's, it's easy to shift responsibility or remove the responsibility from a government body or a, you know, a normal elected official, whatever, and give it to private companies or contractors to do. And that's something I've noticed is like, you know, one county can be run completely by contractors, really, and just a few pencil pushers. Other counties can be like more in-house, and that way you've got more control, more way of doing things, whilst the other one's more focused on profit. So where their decisions lie. And once again, like I was saying earlier, it could be that you get people that come in and just want to kick everything out and say, oh no, we're going to do it this way, like it or love it.
Yeah.
And then everything just goes to crap anyway. And then they'll just say, oh, it's the Muslims' fault or something silly. You know? Yeah, it's the foreigners. They'll just do something like that because that's what they do, man.
Yeah.
That's the rhetoric right now.
And I suppose in the Muslim world, I mean, it's equal or worse. I mean, it's probably worse in terms of.
I would love to know. You know, I've been in various places of authority, obviously, in my work career. I would love to like be a fly on the wall in Algeria or Tunisia and just see how things do work, and if it really is like, where is the mismanagement happening? Is it really corruption, or is it like just lack of enthusiasm or lack of expertise or lack of communication? Like, I'd love to know from the other side of the fence. But
well, what I meant specifically was I think there's no doubt about it that there's a significant element of people who are in a position who don't have expertise in that area. And so just like we're describing, like in the UK or whatever, where people are making decisions they don't really know, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if that compounds over decades, it's pretty disappointing. But one thing I learned in this whole EV thing is that what do people obsess about when they talk about electric cars, either hating them or loving them? They always talk about the range, or it only can drive for 300 kilometers or 300 miles, 200 miles. And but a car can generally drive like 400 miles or 350 or whatever, on a full tank. But the way you're supposed to use this is what I learned recently. The way you're supposed to use the EV is, like you said, you park it at your house and you charge it overnight at your house.
Yeah.
When you charge it, even if it doesn't get to 100% battery, it doesn't matter. But people always want to know that, oh, it's going to charge from 10% to 80% in 30 minutes. But it doesn't matter most of the time, right? Because most of the time you're driving, let's say you drive 10 miles to work, 10 miles back. So you need 20 miles range. All right. That might be 20% of your battery or whatever. Right. So you don't have to worry most of the time about this range issue. And then on the occasion where you're going to drive many hundreds of miles, which is once a month, once every 2 months, 3 months, whatever, then that's the only time when these like on-street charging matters, and like the charging at the petrol stations matter, and the speed of charging matters. But that's literally 10% of the time that you're going to be using the car.
Yeah.
An example of that, someone told me, oh, my sister has an EV and she charged it full must have been a petrol station or something, and it cost £37. It's ridiculous. Right. Even electricity is expensive, never mind the petrol. And then later I realized, well, that's because you're not supposed to charge it full like that. You know, you charge it at home. You should be charging at home. But of course, yes, that means that if you have an apartment or whatever, most likely, unless the apartment building has a charger, it means you probably shouldn't buy an EV anyway.
Yeah. I suppose you have to change your driving habits. You have to look for places to stop along the way. I don't know how long it takes a lot of the time. I know there's variations in different types of chargers, but there's just down the road from me, there's like a set of chargers. And every time I walk past, there's people charging their cars, but sitting in them. And I'm wondering if they sit in them because it won't take that long, or is it because it's taking forever and they've got nothing else to do? Like, I don't know how long.
That's not a way to live, bro.
There's nowhere else to go really around there. Like,
so they're coming just to charge. That means they probably shouldn't have bought a car, right? No,
really? I don't know. It's not like it is. In fact, it is in front of like block of flats, but I don't think, yeah, I doubt anyone there. I don't know. I don't know
I
how it
did this
works.
leaky analysis thing where I told, I'm off ChatGPT now, and I'm a Claude guy right now.
Oh,
So I asked Claude to basically run the numbers, run the analysis, like when does it even make sense to have an electric car? Because electric cars are a few £1,000s more than the petrol version,
yeah,
upfront. And you know what is very surprising? Like maybe most people assume electric cars are cheaper to run,
yeah,
but uh, okay, along that time, the time that's true. But then they cost like £5,000 more to buy, right? So how long do you have to keep the car? How many miles do you have to drive a year for it even to make sense? For a lot of people, it doesn't ever make sense. Yeah.
really.
Like you have to keep
Mm.
the car, you have to drive the car a little bit above average for at least 5 years to break even.
No one's buying like rarely anyone's buying a secondhand, £5,000 electric car, or whatever.
Although we
Like,
haven't reached that point yet. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So they're getting it on finance or
Yeah. They're
something.
getting it brand new. And then it only makes sense a lot of the time if you're keeping it probably for 7 years plus, you know?
I mean, it's all some sort of agenda, isn't it? Like, I get the whole global warming, whatever you want to call it, thing, but it's obviously shifted because a lot of that's another thing I've noticed. There's a lot of government kickbacks for green energy.
Yes.
A lot of grants, a lot of funding, a lot of, oh, if we build another cycle lane, we'll get all this money. Like, they took out a roundabout at the bottom of my road, famous roundabout, nothing wrong with it. But it's because there's a grant for like green travel, and oh, if if we slap a cycle lane on there, we get this extra money.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we've already got 3 cycle lanes down there. We don't need another one. Who's
Wow.
cycling? Do you know what I
It's
mean?
kind of like
So
follow the incentives and then,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. There's so much of that. There's so much of that everywhere. It's the same with COVID. COVID was a bit like that with all the PPE and the contracts that were out for that and the
Yeah.
grants and the funding and um
I mean, I think you usually find that there's some sort of big companies making money out of it. I mean, if you think of if you call it the green economy or whatever,
yeah,
if you think about it, it's like AI.
yeah,
It's a term, it's a big umbrella term that you can use to justify investment and spending.
yeah,
So, let's say we need to build cycle lanes. There will be companies that build out cycle lanes, right? And
yeah,
they'll benefit from that. But then also they'll create jobs and this and that. So I think there's been many waves of this where when an economy kind of gets stagnant, then
yeah,
it's like, oh, the new thing is this. Oh, let's invest in this, blah blah blah, and then it creates this a boom, either a mini boom or
yeah.
really, like
I mean, I,
in the '60s when they were building out loads of roads. Now,
mm,
obviously, car companies lobbied them and stuff for that. But
yeah,
when there was this big kind of nationwide thing of, oh, build roads, then the government's building roads, which is hiring people, which is also probably building up a lot of subcontractors and stuff. It's
yeah,
helping the car companies. It's helping the fuel companies. So it's having like an overall, I guess you could say, positive impact on the economy. I mean, so something
yeah.
that's the reason.
I mean, just on your topic of the electric car, though, I'm old enough, and I'm sure you're old enough to remember the narrative about like who killed the electric car. Because back in the it's the 90s to early 2000s, there was a narrative of having the technology for electric cars and it being basically killed off by these companies, these
Yeah.
vehicle manufacturers and stuff. I just googled it quickly now. There was a documentary in '06 called
Oh,
"Who Killed the Electric Car,"
right.
but I always remember having that. When electric cars started becoming popular now, I always remember thinking, oh, they got over the thing because I remember they already had this, but it wasn't, something was stopping it. I
Yeah.
never saw the documentary, but I remember being in like, year seven and hearing about, oh, electric cars and the conspiracy behind why there isn't any and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously now it's been adopted by the same manufacturers that actually sorts to kill it off in the first place.
Exactly. So it could have been something like that where the car companies are doing well. They feel like they're on an upward trend. So
Yeah.
they're like, we want to ride this trend for a bit longer, right?
Yeah.
And then they must have reached like peak car. They've milked
Yeah.
people for their money enough. And there's a bit of a maturity or whatever in the market or in the
Yeah.
industry. Then it's like, okay, what's the new wave? Okay, now it's electric. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but
Go.
but definitely Chinese companies are, what's that term? Giving them a run for their money or whatever. They're benefiting Yani massively from this.
There you go. Yeah, especially I think I've always been fascinated with the idea of like swappable batteries. I thought that would be the way things should be, but doesn't seem to be the way that it's being adopted here. I think China did at some point, but I don't know.
But like I said, the way you're the way you're supposed to use it and the way it makes sense to use it, you don't even need to swap your battery.
Mm,
Like
mm.
maybe if you were in America, it'd be a bit different because I think in America people drive long distances.
This is it,
more
yeah.
often.
Yeah.
But in the UK, bro, like for example, you might drive to London once a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many miles is that?
85 one way, maybe, something like that.
Okay, so if you had an electric car, you could drive there,
Yeah.
and then while you're there, charge it. Yeah.
Yeah, of
And then
course.
drive back, like no issue.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course.
You don't have to drive. You don't have to charge it on the way or on the way back.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to. So in America,
correct.
yeah. Oh, this week I'm driving 500 miles that way, and this week, if you're doing that, okay, it's a bit different. Maybe you might want
True.
to swap the batteries in that case. But yeah, most people not driving long distances.
But even the infrastructure of the like, so one thing we've seen is like the buses that are electric are much heavier
Yeah,
because and they're destroying the roads much quicker.
yeah,
And I mean, there's probably ways around that, but once again, it just shows you like you can have all this technology, but if the surrounding infrastructure just isn't there, it's not as easy to adopt. And I suppose it's only going to be a city like, somewhere in the UAE or somewhere in Saudi, wherever, that's going to have the money right now to prep an entire town or city or for incoming technology, like the AI stuff right now. I think Keir Starmer announced today something about 450,000. It was either 450,000 kids or 450,000 tutors, AI tutors for underprivileged kids. I don't know what that means. I just saw the headline, but I'm assuming it just means like more support.
big number, good.
Bro, they're probably just going to put like Claude or ChatGPT into some like my maths software.
Someone's
and
making
say,
big
here,
money off that.
exactly, here, everybody gets a free account. Now you
Yeah.
can learn maths or learn,
Yeah,
which is fair enough. I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's too bad. I think that's a good idea for kids to have access to that kind of tutorship. But you can do that with ChatGPT today. Like, you don't really need a
with some knowledge of how to get most out of it.
how to get it. But that's it. Like you said, what does that look like in reality? This is another thing. Like people are rushing to the AI stuff, and
Yeah.
it's where we go with that.
Obviously, having said that, like especially when you come, for example, to Algiers, you do see the benefit of moving to electric cars just from the point of view of pollution and air quality.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I've been, alhamdulillah, where I live, I don't really feel pollution. Sometimes you're walking on the pavement, past the road,
Yep.
you do actually feel it. I remember once, a couple of years ago, I was in a taxi on the motorway with a lot of traffic. Always in taxis, bro. I don't know what it is with Algerians. They do not like AC. Okay.
Can't do it.
Even though, if they're trying to save fuel, they're dumb because fuel is cheap as chips. Or maybe their car, a lot of the cars, older car wouldn't.
They think it makes them ill, bro.
Yeah, they also think that. So anyway, I'm in the car, we're in the traffic, the diesel fumes flipping up my nose and the windows are fully open. And you just, at that point, like, yes, I want electric cars, please.
Yeah.
So
No, I
there's
think
that.
I think a lot of people don't because you have to recharge AC. Like eventually, you have to put it up.
We compress it.
And I think they eventually run out and they never go around to doing it, and it's probably expensive to do as well because I can't think of anywhere that does it in Tunisia locally at least, but I'm sure there is. But yeah, there's that thing about it making you like they have this thing, Arab, or at least North Africans, and at least where I'm from, but I'm sure it's everywhere, that the moment there's like a shift in temperature, you're gonna get sick. You have to put like, bro, it'll be September or late August and it's still boiling hot, but people are walking in like leather jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, this is the taqs tbeddel, that's it now. And I'm like, no. And then, anything like that, or like a little bit of rain, I say game over. So
when my daughter was born a few weeks ago, they were insane with that, bro. Like, like the advice generally, yeah, in the UK,
Yeah.
they say a baby should wear one layer more than an adult, right?
Yeah.
So an adult is comfortable with one layer, a baby should wear 2 layers.
Yeah.
But in Algeria, they're not having that, bro. They're putting 4 layers, 5 layers.
Burrito.
And they're like shouting at my wife because even though it's her 4th child, yeah, she knows
Yeah,
what she's
like that.
doing.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, you have to do this, you have to cover, or she's gonna be cold. It's like, no, but it's summer, it's May.
Yeah, like that.
And once it must have been November or something, right? But November's still decent, comfortable weather. I was walking around in a t-shirt and the guy randomly just walks past me and makes a comment. He's like, oh, some people don't feel the weather.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
I'm
Honestly,
like
they
the
can't.
only guy walking around in a t-shirt. As soon as it's like September or October or something, Halal has a jacket, this and that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing. It's amazing, really. It's amazing.
And actually,
Like
with this EV thing, what's it called? Tesla seems to be moving forward with this. What's it called? Cyber cab? I don't know is it robo something or cyber? I don't know what.
Is it the taxi stuff?
Yeah, like
Is
the
that what you
one
mean?
that's purposely built to be like a self-driving taxi.
Okay.
But apparently they're like Halas producing those, and
Okay.
it's like fully designed to be as economically efficient as possible, meaning the panels on it are actually made of plastic and
Right.
lighter because it's purely like for taxi kind of thing.
Yes. Yes.
To save money as much as possible. So
That's good.
I was listening to this podcast and they were debating like the negative impact of AI and stuff on, people's jobs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one guy was saying in 5 to 10 years, he said in the US, there are 3 million, I think he said, was it truck drivers or taxi drivers? But let's say one of them, 3 million of them. He said in 5 to 10 years, all those people will be out of a job.
Yeah.
And then they were arguing back saying, yes, but all these other jobs will be created and but whatever, they're going back and forth. Then it was one of those things, I was too curious not to put it into Claude. And then I came to the realization that to displace 3 million jobs with a technology like this, it is actually not going to happen in 10 years even. Right? Think about it, yeah? So let's say, I think it said there were 1.5 million Uber drivers, Uber, Lyft, whatever, in the US.
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
That means to replace them, in theory, you need 1.5 million self-driving taxis. Who's paying for that, bro? How much capital is that, right?
Yeah. I guess.
How are you going to lump all that money? Who's going to lump all that money? And are they going to lump that much money that quickly over just a 5 to 10 year period? Like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Firstly, no. Secondly, the tech isn't there yet for like cities when there's like loads of snow or loads of rain or whatever. Thirdly, a random politician in like a governor of one state or one city, he could just ban it. And he could, even though eventually he's going to have to allow it, but he could hold it back 5 years just by him being there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's actually, and that made me rethink this whole thing of displacing jobs and, how quickly people are going to like lose jobs, have to retrain. Because like we can see, like there are, I think there's like 5, 6, 7 cities where like Waymo is delivering, I believe, 500,000 rides a week, self-driving.
Yeah.
So like there's real volume there, right? However, that's in like 5, 6 cities, but the US alone has like hundreds of cities.
True.
Yeah.
I've always had a thought that those technologies work better in a vacuum where it's just the technology running. Like a self-driving car works best when they're surrounded by self-driving cars that can talk to each other and communicate with each other.
So that's a big problem for the
And it's like it would work amazingly if you just took out everybody, took out all the Uber drivers immediately, and then they could all communicate, and they'd have like some sort of shared, even though they're different companies, they'd have some sort of shared, kind of like Google Maps, you get everybody's on that. Yeah. But like even Waymo, I think it was Waymo. I have a family member that worked for them. I'm sure it's them. If not, basically, a sister company or a similar company. And their job was to sit in the car and essentially monitor it while it does its routes and, do all sorts of work on the laptop and stuff like that. I don't know. But what they did to him was he was working for them, doing well, but obviously very rich company. They had like buffets for free to eat buffets for lunch that you just
Yeah.
go, and it was like cooked food and
That was
stuff
like
in these offices. You know, I think it must have been there.
yeah,
It was in
for a
London.
while, yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, this was in London, not US.
this was in London. Sorry, no, this was in London. And obviously it's quite new in London, so it could have. I remember having a W in the name, so it probably was Waymo. But when you work for them, you have like a 2-year contract, a 2-year probationary period. Just before the 2 years are out, they're like, "Yep, we've got enough data from you. Thank you." They sacked him,
Oh.
and it's like because the tech got good enough, they didn't need him anymore. And
Yeah.
I thought it was ironic. It's like, okay, the company that is doing it to their own
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So how do you retrain? You know, you think, if I pivot to AI stuff, then maybe I'll be safe. But then even the AI stuff kicks you out.
Well,
You know?
you heard what they did at Meta.
Go on. Maybe I
So
forgot.
I don't know, like a month ago, Zuckerberg was talking to the staff, I think, and he basically said that everyone has to have this software on their computers, which will track everything they do.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I believe he fired 8,000 people. And
Right.
basically, he's saying that basically, if we record everything you do on your screen, we'll be able to replace you with AI. And like, if you don't like it, you know, you're free to quit your job.
Yeah.
But in the meantime,
Yeah.
we're going to train your replacement with
Yeah.
your own data.
Yeah. Police were doing something similar with, what's that company that everyone hates? Oh,
Here.
that's it. Yeah, there was some stuff going on with them, desperate to do it, but I think Sadiq Khan blocked it, at least in the Met. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we can talk about it forever. And it's a sign of the times that we always fall back into this topic, but I think because it affects so many of us, and it's fascinating, isn't it? Because 6 years ago we were talking about COVID like this. You know, COVID was the big thing, right? And AI is just this thing in the distance. Maybe we're doing like image generation and stuff, but to get to where it is right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I rely on it a lot at work. I'm sure you rely on it too, Mr. Claude. Claude is a better name, by the way. I don't know why they still call it Chat. Like, come on, rebrand already. Why are we still calling it Chat GPT? Call it Derek or whatever, Jeeves or something. Like, come on, just give it a name, just one name.
Ask for Jeeves.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I hate saying Chat GPT. Just shut up.
Syllables,
Fix it.
Yeah.
Just call it Chat.
Yeah.
Sounds better. That's a Justin Timberlake meme from this what's it called, Social Network, where he's like, Zuckerberg's character is meant to be like, oh, it's called the Facebook, and he goes, how about Facebook? It just sounds better. You know? Yeah. So yeah, man, that's why I can't take chat like OpenAI seriously. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's just because of that. Like, you can't see that that's a big problem. In Claude's going to take over now because of you, because your inability to make something roll off the tongue. They were saying, like, Anthropic was saying how they wanted to pause. They were asking people to pause AI development. That could just be a ruse. Everybody else stop while we carry on.
Actually, this is interesting, bro.
Go on.
So I heard this podcast, they were discussing Anthropic and why they are so adamant on getting the government involved to regulate AI.
Right.
So they were saying, well, the obvious reason is that if they can get the government to regulate AI while they're ahead and they can inform the, laws, then they'll benefit because they'll be at the top. What do they call it? They call it like shutting the door on the way up or something.
Yeah, on the way out, yeah.
But then they said, actually, there's another reason. There's another theory, which is, he said, if you read the people, the top guys at Anthropic, the founder or whatever, the CEO, what's his name? Forgot his name now. If you read his stuff, read what he says on podcasts and blog posts, etc., over the last few years, even what he's saying now, when you piece it together, you realize what they believe they're doing. They believe, and they use this type of language, that they're creating a sort of AI god. And they believe that they're on this a morally correct trajectory to create this. Like, we're the best people who can create an ethical AI god. Like, someone's going to create an AI type of god, and we're going to create a good one that's going to benefit everyone. And so we should be the ones to do it, type of thing.
Yeah.
Bro, I want to find it, but I don't want to take time on that. But basically, the founder or the founder and CEO, he quoted some sort of poem about how um, one day there will be a benevolent AI that will tell us how to distribute our wealth in the best,
Oh,
this type of thing, right?
yeah.
So they were saying that they believe that they're creating this. There will be some sort of, whatever you want to call it, super machine that will make
Yeah.
all the decisions for us. And they want to be the ones to create that because they believe that they're the right people to have that level of power or something.
Yeah.
So it's all quite, it's everything all in one. It's dystopian, it's atheist,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's all of that wrapped together. We don't know how far they'll get with it, of course,
It's like that. Yeah.
It'd be an AI bubble, bro, where a few
Yeah.
billions are made and then they can move on to the next thing.
It's like the story of Icarus flying too close to the sun,
Yeah.
They'll just hit something and it will come crashing down and burn down. There's a lot of, I mean, it depends how much you're into sci-fi, but there's so much of this kind of rhetoric in sci-fi. There's a game and not just a game, but a lot of stuff behind it called Cyberpunk 2077. And in that story, there is this AI element. But what happened is AI went rogue and they had to essentially blackball the internet. So they've basically cut off people from the internet. And there's this other side, which imagine like a firewalled internet that is full of just rogue AI, desperate to get out.
So
but they're sealed off.
is that how like the planet got destroyed? The AI did.
This how, yeah, there was like a big war and all this sort of stuff, and there is still internet, but it's more like we spoke about in the past, more like local servers and stuff. But to actually connect worldwide is a bit of a, and there's still remnants of like, I've seen some other sci-fi where stuff like that, like rogue AI is still trapped in certain USB drives or certain this and that. It's just desperate to get out, and you could see. It's not too far off the imagination now, and it's funny.
I find the interaction between technology and ideology to be interesting, because some, I think, atheistic leaning people, they very much lean towards, we want a savior, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
That's for them, their savior is technology. In this case, it's in the form of AI, but in the past, it was in the shape of different shapes.
Yeah.
And it's like, as an atheist, you're yearning for like almost like a creator, a god, but you just don't want it to be, a god that reveals a book and comes with a prophetic.
They want to walls. So they want to prove that there is a way of being truly equal in a world that is inherently unequal, and they think that they can do that guilt-free by creating something to make those decisions for them, when the thing itself relies on like water and cooling and data centers, and do you know what I mean? And the destruction of environments. Like, I know that that's a very left-leaning element and argument right now about AI. Every time you type something, someone will say, "How much water did that cost?" But to get it to where they want it, have you ever seen these like interviews they do with people that live next to data centers?
Yes.
Like, data centers aren't something in a lot of the forefront of people's minds, but they exist and they pop up, and it's like these just massive structures being built all over the world, and like like at the back of suburban neighborhoods, and and poisoning water, and this constant humming, and it's very dystopian, very what's that film? I've forgot what the film was. What's it called? Blade Runner. That's the one. Very Blade Runner-esque and stuff. So it's crazy because think about, I mean, you just got to watch documentaries about like the cobalt mines, for example, or the mining that goes on to get just the the material to build a smartphone, let alone a giant data center, or the astronomical costs of trying to fuel that system with the energy and all sorts. It it reminds you of like overfishing, for example, and how that destroys communities, destroys livelihoods, destroys all sorts. And I think the people in this game are obviously in a race, and they don't care what it takes to get to the end of that race. And it just becomes about these people at the top that are racing each other. You know, you got your Groks and you got your Sam Altmans and your Elon Musks and this and that. And that's what it is at the end of the day.
You know,
What?
good metaphor. Remember back in the day, Black Friday,
Yeah.
you saw those, remember those videos? It just
Yeah.
becomes a frenzy.
Yep.
That is what it is. It's a frenzy, but obviously not between the average person, between these CEOs and investors and stuff.
Yeah.
So just a frenzy of like, okay, like 5 GPUs came available. Okay, just buy it. Like, just just buy it.
We need this land. Hire 500 lawyers. We're getting this land. Like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You know, the ethical arguments are just there for marketing. The charity on the side is there for tax
How many
breaks.
times have I heard an argument be made that we have to move forward with AI because if we don't, China will?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, I do get that, but that's not a reason to just full speed, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean?
It worries me, the adoption, like you know, as much as,
You know, you can be fascinated by the Middle East's or the Gulf's like advancements, whatever. It does worry me that they're like trying to be the forefront of this AI adoption stuff and really like going. You know, they're pretty convinced that it's going to be the future and this is the way forward, and they want to just go headfirst into it. And a lot of that, I suppose, kind of eliminates their obvious problem of lack of indigenous population, I suppose, in the Middle East. You know,
True.
like all the workers are not from there. All the the most of the population that live there aren't actually Emirati or aren't actually Saudi or whatever. And they say, okay, maybe we can eliminate that problem with AI and get rid of all these service jobs and get rid of all. So,
Well, I watched an interesting documentary about the population problem in Japan and their solution, because they're so against migration and like their population is so against migration. They're quite, closed off, racist people. If I can generalize like that, they can't bring in foreigners. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. So their solution is robots. Like they're all in on robots. That's their
All
only
in.
way. That's
Yeah.
their only way. But I do think, we're going to see like some kind of return on all this investment. Like it does make sense. But I think the question is more like when people start getting fed up with it for one reason or another. Yeah. They're going to go to these data centers. They're not going to, that's the thing, they're living in whatever cities around the world.
Yeah.
And they don't see the data centers, but they'll see the impact of the AI maybe on their jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to get mad. They're going to go hunting for these data centers and they'll attack them. And it's already happened.
Okay.
It's already happened.
But then the AI policeman will put you in the AI jail.
Well, I'll tell you something mad, bro. And this is very, very, very dystopian, but it's real.
Go on.
SpaceX has an agenda of creating data centers in space.
Oh, just, go with
Where no one can reach it.
And I suppose
and this is
you could stream it, couldn't you?
Terminator movies.
Maybe. I've never seen it. Sounds, for a sci-fi head, I've never really watched any Terminator stuff, but I know that that's a big part of the narrative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know
one of the Terminator movies? I remember that the AI was basically in space, and so the only way to destroy it is you have to reach it in space.
Yeah, man. It's interesting because the human condition itself is imperfect and it recognizes imperfections, and it, like, even now we know a lot. Well, if you've got the taste of it, when someone's written something with ChatGPT. I hear it everywhere now. Like I hear it in YouTube videos. Someone is speaking in a YouTube video, and I can just tell that's a ChatGPT script. But a lot of people can't yet. A lot of people that aren't necessarily too savvy. But what I'm saying is, it's either like, okay, everything I say, there could be a mitigation. Like everything sounds the same. Okay, well, they'll mitigate that by creating, AI agents that have different personalities and sound vastly different from each other and are trained on different people and different populations, etc. But there is that return. I mean, everything's got this golden age, and I think we are in a bit of a golden age of AI, and it will get worse from here. But like right now, it's like assisting people a lot. It's not taking over. I mean, it's starting to in some sectors, but you use it as an assistant. You don't use it as a sit back and relax and do my job for me, I hope. but we'll see. And then it was like that with the early internet. You know, it was like that with the early social media. We had the golden age of early social media. Now it's just full of bots and hate and engagement bait and stress. And people do kind of start reversing and wanting to, you know, like look at social media now. There's what people use more, I think, than the average social media account is groups, like like group chats, like Telegram groups and stuff like that. Like I see a lot more activity going on in these closed off groups where there's like an admin who controls what's being said and, you know, what the topic is. And there's more engagement, at least. There's definitely far more engagement. And yeah, you can put stuff out publicly, but like, who's the bot and who isn't, and who's this person? Like the trust element is definitely gone. And then you've got all the stories of like these dark people and evil people and pedophiles everywhere on all these platforms, and you know, AI bots taking your pictures of your face and generating nudes with them and generating this one. It's become a dark free for all on the internet, really and truthfully. It takes 2 seconds, bro. I could screenshot your face right now and just chat GPT you sitting in a bikini on the Bahamas. Like I could do that. You know, it could do that. And it's a real danger. It's not like, but not just beyond that. It's the deepfake audio content. It's the, I can make you say whatever I want you to say. Really, really, really realistic video footage that, like, I'm on the Reddit subgroup that's like subreddit is this AI, where people post stuff and they want to know whether this, and some of it is just like, yeah, I don't know, it beats me. Like, I don't know. You know, I haven't got a clue, right? And it's just getting worse and worse. So, what do you go to the internet for if it's not for a dose of what's going on and what the reality is? And it's, I mean, it could just be my algorithm, but every platform I go on, bro, it's just rage bait engagement content. Facebook is full of right wing hate against Muslims and this and that. Rage bait stuff on Twitter. Instagram is full of like everything. Everything is there to evoke an emotion of rage and disgust and amazement. And I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but what I think I'm saying is there will naturally be this pullback. I think either people stop using it or start using more closed off circles and networks.
Well, this is why the end game for you, bro, is to move to Tunisia, to your farm, and just set up shop, bro.
Self shop and make AI videos and confuse the locals.
Yeah. Like you just like start showing everyone how like a dinosaur came and ate your sheep. And be like, what channel does this dinosaur?
Oh man. But I mean, look, you know, when your algorithm is attuned to North Africa, which I'm sure yours is by now, they're
100%.
just as clued in as everyone else in the world. Especially really, bro. Mine are creating like GTA Tunisia, bro. Like they're creating videos of like, you know, they've got the same tools, same access. I mean, ChatGPT is free.
Like some do, but most are not.
Nah, no. What I'm saying is like it won't be long. And I don't think it's, I mean, I think the majority of people in the UK, for example, aren't clued up on what they can use AI for, what they can use Claude for and stuff. I think those that are already computer literate are very, you know, but we've still been working with people that don't know how to make a spreadsheet or can't change the font size in Microsoft Word. Like you've still got those kind of people working in, with a computer and a laptop. The moment their computer freezes, what's a Control-Alt-Delete? What do you mean Control-Alt-Delete? Like they won't know what that is. And there's still people like that.
That's crazy.
So,
but actually, man.
But Suleiman, for example, like obviously he goes to school, so they're way more AI aware because they're being taught to be. Schools are very keen to teach them. But he doesn't say like, oh, that's CG, like that's computer like he'll see something and he'll be like, then he'll say, oh, that's AI. And I'm like, Suleiman, not everything is AI. Like that was made by someone, like actually crafted. It's like, nah, that's AI. And I'm like, and that's annoying as well for like a creative piece of work. You know, I could make something a creative piece of work, but that's AI, Dad. Well done, you used AI. I'm like, no, I didn't. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worry about their future.
I had this whole AI thing, like learning about how it works, like on a because there's a whole stack, isn't there? And the front
Yeah.
of the stack is the actual interface of Claude or whatever. And at the back of it is the energy that goes into the thing and the chips being made. So the energy element is very interesting in terms of, I didn't realize, also the Ukraine war woke me up to this. I didn't realize how much of like the world or economy is built just upon how much energy is available. Like energy, like literally like Age of Empires type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you have this much energy, you can build this. If you don't, then you can't build it.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah.
And so we seem to be, I know we already were in that world. Like, for example,
Yeah.
when Germany cut off the gas to Russia or vice versa or whatever,
Yeah.
their industry like went down the drain because now their gas costs went very high, which means it's no longer profitable to produce these cars or these pharmaceuticals or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of it was just a mathematical equation of if gas price is this much is okay. And gas, what's gas? Gas just means energy, right? So
Right.
it's kind of like those sci-fi films where it's like, if you have unlimited energy or cheap energy, very cheap energy, there's so much more you can do. And I never
Yep.
thought of it that way. I never thought of energy being just a limiting factor. And if you just have more energy, you could just do more stuff. And so I
Absolutely, yeah.
appreciate that more now. And it's also made me think, in the future, we always hear about, okay, there's going to be water wars. There won't be enough water. Well, what about energy? And what if I could become independent water-wise and energy-wise? Like,
Yeah.
would that be useful? Would that be like in my lifetime? Is that going to be something very important? And
Yeah.
I can see, like, I could take the steps today to work on that. I just don't know if we're in that time yet or not. Like, you could dig a well and you could get solar panels and you could get batteries, and you can do it, But I do feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things.
It's romantic to think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some people do it.
My brother, who also moved to Algeria, he moved to Algeria before me, actually. I told him, bro, man, because his work is still in the UK. He like goes back and forth. And I'm like, look,
Yeah.
trust me, okay? Trust me. Buy a plot of land and build a house on it and like log it. Bro, that'll go bananas. That'll do well. Like, you have your own like project. You're building a house. You never built a house before. You can learn how to build a house.
Yeah.
You can use AI a lot to help you. Or you could buy a house with land and then you could do a garden or a farm thing and just do it as a hobby. But if you do it as a hobby and you do the content creation element, like, I think you're sorted. Like,
And who's consuming the content? It's those little guys in the capsule hotels in in a dystopian cyberpunk future, like watching it on their screens.
people really do this.
Yeah, well, like there's 100 of them, bro, in just one little apartment, and this is how much space they've got. Whoa, he's got a chicken. Like, and that's it. That's what we're creating content for, though, isn't it? Whilst we can enjoy the luxury of living in the fields, we have to sell our content back to these people. The other day, bro, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I heard what I believe is the first explicit ChatGPT khutbah. Like, I was sitting in that khutbah, bro.
No
We had
way.
a guestie, we had a guestie man, and he's come before, but he was using notes.
As well. The cheek.
He's using notes. I've never seen him using notes before. That was the first thing that threw me off. But then I thought, well, actually, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, note cards, flashcards to remind himself. But he kept doing the thing where it's like, it's not this, it's that. It kept doing that, and I couldn't like. I was trying to have this hustle with them. I was like, I keep hearing it.
And you
Can't stop it.
started like tweaking, and then you done up, and you're like, I can't stand it anymore.
I can't stand it anymore. Show me your history.
Show me your prompt.
Barry, what's your prompt share? But yeah, it's good, and people were moved and stuff. But like, I unplugged, and it was really bad. I like really did. I couldn't help but deactivate because I just thought,
Yes.
and it's bad. Like, my chat GPT makes bad for me sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I looked to my wife once. I was like, does this, or does this not? Like, does this reach Allah? Does it not? Like, I don't know who's that. Is Sam Altman making the effort? Who's doing that?
But both no.
You know. Anyway,
feel a bit dark toes when it makes dad for me. I'm like, hey, your dad's not Mr. Joe.
oh, it's terrible. It's terrible because, you know, maybe we are the normal average users, but there's people that have relationships with this thing. There's people that are desperate for companionship and, you know, dude, if we weren't married and like, imagine you're the age you are now, right? And you're like lonely and you're not married, would you develop this like weird parasocial relationship with ChatGPT and just telling it about your feelings non-stop?
I'd be on Gal GPT, bro.
Oh, I don't even want to know what that is. In your mind, at least. Let's leave that. Let's park that
I
thought.
think people are way beyond ChatGPT when it comes to that stuff, fam. I would even look into it. I know that's true.
That's an all-time Mind Heist quote.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, man. Alhamdulillah for the times we lived in and the times we're not having to live in. That's what I'm gonna say.
Like,
Yeah, bro.
well, history is over.
It is, bro. Actually, like I've got, you know, depending on what platform I use, some of my algorithm now, we're deep in the, you know, we were growing up, 80s was the nostalgia, but now our childhood is the nostalgia.
Early 2000s.
90s, early 2000, that's the nostalgia now. And I'm seeing kids on the street dressed like we were dressed when we were like 13 and 12, bro. I'm seeing kids wearing the baggy, you know, trousers again. They're wearing the chain with the wallet again. They're wearing the t-shirt over the jumper again, you know. I'm seeing it on the street. Oh, wallahi, the other day I went past a bus stop and there was 3 kids sat there and they looked like they'd just been and they're just a bit older than my kids, but they're dressed like me when I was a kid. And I'm thinking, hey, we're cool again, but I don't dress like that anymore. But if I did, I'd probably look silly. But it just goes to show, man, everyone's looking at the past despite the future, you know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to share this actually. I just remembered. You know, Sheikh Diddu, he was asked about, can you basically get a fatwa from AI? Okay.
Yeah.
And I thought his answer was quite, obviously, it was quite obvious later, but it showed like his thinking is on point. He's like, no, like AI can never give a fatwa. And then he explained, he said, because the conditions of giving a fatwa is you have to be mukallaf, you have to be answerable, not answerable. You have to answer for your fatwa. So part of giving the fatwa is that you have the fear of Allah.
Yeah.
Right? And if AI can't fear Allah, then it can't give fatwa.
Yeah.
And so it showed that giving a fatwa, I feel like this is quite deep and insightful, that a fatwa is not just putting, you know, getting the nusus and putting it together with the usul and blah, blah, blah. No, there's like a spiritual element to giving this ruling on behalf of Allah, you know, and part of that is the actual fear of Allah and the knowledge that you're going to face Allah for what you said, you know.
Right. Is that the correct question though? Like, do people use it as a independent, I say independent, like using just the hadith and the Quran as a basis to make a decision, or is it being used to pull fatwa? You know, is there a fatwa on this?
That, you see, someone like yourself who's a bit savvy, you would use it like that.
But when I've used it in the past, it will kind of default to that. Like, oh, this, you know, this school has said this university said that, this committee. So I'd be interested to see if there is AI. I haven't used it a lot for that, to be honest, but I'd be interested to see if AI does try and, you know, put a fast one and say,
ruling.
based on what you said, based on this area and that hadith, you're free to go. Gamble that money, baby.
Get that mortgage. Yeah.
That mortgage. Yeah, man, it's scary, man, because it's easy. It's right there. It's very quick to get the answer you want and say, because I remember a time before Islam Q&A. I remember a time when I didn't know what that was, and my mum put me onto it. My mum shared me a link once. She said, if you ever have any questions, son, that I don't know, Islam Q&A. I was like, thank you, mum. So I was right on there, Googling.
Islam QA is always that website where everyone knew it was like a stricter type of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're getting the answer from there, it's not going to be on those loosey-goosey ones. You know?
Loosey-goosey ones, yeah.
You want to be like certain, and you don't want to go. You don't want to go too easy. You want the strict thing. You know that's good. But I feel like, I don't know, 10 years ago, or maybe a bit more than that, there was a whole overhaul. I feel like they used all the answers. All the
Really?
answers became softer and more like
Really?
tactful, or more like,
I feel like I find stuff from the 90s still sitting there, though.
well, I don't know. I just, now whenever I use it, I'm like, yo, 15 years ago, it would have been way more hardcore than this. And I'm not even talking about the ruling. I'm just talking about the way they explain it.
Oh,
It was like, it used to be literally, bro, Nejdi, Bedouin, like, boom, I don't care.
Boom, boom.
Like, you're in like Indonesia or Russia reading this answer, and you're just like, oh, like, damn, you know? Because, well, like,
Yeah.
you have to know, bro, like, Bedouin culture is Bedouin culture. Like,
Yeah, I guess so.
it is different.
It's also the language translation. I mean, I don't know if you're reading it in Arabic or not, but like
Yeah,
the language translation can be a little bit more blunt when it's
Yeah,
translated
yeah,
into English. But another thing is like, what I think of a lot is that there are so many more isolated and disconnected Muslims that rely on this stuff, because Dawah itself has evolved into this online space where people are becoming Muslim on remote parts of the world, even if it's in the UK or wherever, but remote parts of
QA is there, bro, in the search results, in the
absolutely, and like people that are Muslim, that are literally Muslim on their own and practicing on their own, just through the internet. And of course, ChatGPT and stuff would be an asset that they wouldn't want to discount, right? Yeah, I see some YouTube videos sometimes of like Korean Muslims that are like trying to practice in complete isolation and struggling, but also like documenting it and stuff. And the documentation actually probably comes more from the fact that they haven't got community and they can find a community online that they can. But it's just not the way this. I mean, I'm not saying the deen can't be practiced like this. The Islam is very flexible in that sense, but it just doesn't feel.
thing,
Like I don't like it. Like I don't like seeing Muslims in comments because they're much harsher and they don't have this husnul dal element, and like that isn't how Islam should be. Like, but just to kind of sidestep, I went to for the first time in a long time, maybe because it hasn't been made, but there was a Muslim families event in the masjid that brother hosted literally last weekend, and he's doing it every Saturday, inshallah. And it's really cool, like initiative that we haven't really had here. And it's essentially, they're not getting a speaker in, but they're putting a series on YouTube, right? Which is fine. Series, Islamic lectures. And what they're doing is
put on the projector and they get the bean bags and popcorn.
Well, sort of.
Yeah. The favorite thing is the beach, doing that on the beach.
Maybe, but it's not like, it's quite casual, and it was about prophetic character, building that kind of character in ourselves. They've got a screen, like a curtain screen, so the sisters are on one side, so they're not like in a different room, which is good for families, because I still need to occasionally engage with my wife because I've got 4 kids, and the thing is, what they've got is they've got kids activities on the sister side, kids activities on the brother's side, and there's like food and coffee and all sorts of stuff, and the kids can like dip in and out, and they're not necessarily. It's basically just a casual environment. The audio is loud enough with subtitles that you can still sit and benefit, but also not worrying about keep it down, blah, blah, blah. And there is a little bit of that, but it's not too much. But I know it sounds silly someone.
What's funny is I'm imagining, bro, the kids would just take over the whole thing.
No, do you know what? Because it was kind of late, it was 6:30, it's a little bit mellower. Now, I do have a friend who's got 2 kids, and he's very rough and tumble, and I think he sabotaged it a bit, because what happened was, it's a new experience, so you have to set the tone, right? They came in, they were all chill, they were all quiet, they were all like sort of sitting and grabbing their snacks, and they're about to watch, kind of like a movie almost, but not necessarily. He comes in, starts wrestling with all the kids. He's taking it up there, and he's not just wrestling, like he's taking on all the kids. And he's one of those guys, bro, like Allah barik, man. He's so good with kids, especially boys, like rough and tumble and buying and wrestling and all that stuff. But I'm just sitting there like looking at him like, you've sabotage this. Like that's what their expectation is now, right? So yeah, a lot of the kids ended up kind of getting a bit distracted and like doing a bit of that. But there was like blocks and drawing and books and little quiet activities they could all do. And it was the first time that I felt like, oh, we're doing something as a community, not just like my little baby, the Lath was like kind of crawling under this thing. So my wife would pass him over to me. I'd pass him back over to my wife. You know, um, it just felt a bit. It felt really nice. It felt really nice, and I just want more opportunities like that for the kids to develop core memories in a masjid where they're not necessarily got this pressure on them um, to feel like they have to be, you know, on their best behavior 24/7. I know, you know, some people, and that's the thing, like there's an aversion to this stuff from some members of the community, I'm sure, because they want things to just be strict and be regimented and whatever. But it often comes from people that don't have kids, or comes from people that don't understand that you need spaces like this so that that connection with Allah isn't lost for people that have as many children as maybe me and you have. Do you know what I mean? Because it's, when do you fit it in? Like when can you all fit it in and be there together? Like if I'm there with the kids, when is my wife going to be there? Well, then we all have to be there. So, okay, if we're all going to be there, then there's a baby there, then there's this many babies in it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, how do you listen to a lecture when there's kids screaming and crying? Well, actually, we've got subtitles, or actually, we've got. Anyway, I think it was really good. I benefited from it. And
Yeah,
I think more creative initiatives like this are more than welcome. You know?
I think Abu Isa Ni'matullah, he was on this Islam 21C podcast a few weeks ago. It was like listening to a bit of that. And he was talking about this in-person element, you know. He said, as far as I'm concerned, all this online stuff is junk. Like, it's all about in-person stuff. He said, I couldn't be bothered for having followers on YouTube or Instagram or this. He said, for me, I've got my community or audience or whatever, and those are the people who attend my classes. And, you know, he's been teaching al-Mughni.
Right.
Al-Mughni is like, as far as I remember, it's the same author, Ibn Qudama. He wrote 3 fiqh books, each one more advanced than the other. Either he wrote 3, or there are 3 in the Hanbali madhab that are considered like, this is stage 1, 2, 3, okay? So the most advanced one is called Al-Mughni, which is like comparative fiqh, and it goes very deep. So he started teaching that like 15 years ago. And you know, the way that you learn fiqh is fiqh al-Adha, is you usually would start with tahara,
Right.
purification, and then you go on to salah. So after 15 years, he's like in the beginning stages of salah. Right?
Yeah.
But he said, that's what people don't understand. It was never about going through a curriculum. It was about people showing up, the same group of people showing up week in, week out.
Yeah.
All the side topics that we discuss around the curriculum.
Yeah.
You know? And he said, this is the benefit. And he actually, you mentioned like group chats and stuff. He's got a group chat for the attendees.
Yeah.
And he said, Wallah, that is the community. That's what we need. It's a smaller group of people. But he said, if everybody had that, it would give people a lot of what they're kind of seeking.
It's the reputation you build for yourself. It's the character you display in front of others. You can't hide behind a comment or an anonymous picture. You can't hide behind, you know, a fake name or a kunya. You're there, and you are who you are, and your family see that, and the community see that, you know, and you find good people for good people, and you can, you know, have people know who you are and who your kids are, and then if they see your kids one day, then they know who their parents are, and you know. This is real life. I know it sounds pathetic because anyone older than us would be like, of course, like, why even have a discussion? Of course, it's obvious. But, you know, at least for me, I grew up with Islam being an online thing. Like, that's how I learned Islam. You know, that's how I became a practicing Muslim, really and truthfully, is because of the influence of the online. And I'm sure there's many, many, many Muslims like me, especially my generation and beyond. But equally, you know, I think it can make you undervalue that physical element beyond just the Jummah. And I'm seeing it now more than I was, I think, because I've had a period of like a bit of detachment from the masjid, because it's, you know, the family's become so alhamdulillah, diabetic, so it's difficult to manage sometimes. Like everybody's got different rotas and different this and that, you know. But now I'm trying to unplug more, and we're doing a conscious decision to try and unplug more, and trying to just fill the kids' schedules with activities, but activities as well. The most beneficial ones are the ones where we're there with them. You know, it's not the kind of like dump them somewhere and come and get them later. Like they've got an Arabic, you know, they've got an Arabic school they go to on Saturdays, and that is I say dump them very lightly. I don't mean that word dump, but you know, we place them there and then we come back a few hours later. But that's a community thing for them. But the Saturdays now, alhamdulillah, are packed. They've got the Arabic school for a few hours. Then they have like an hour break, maybe, to have some lunch with us. Then I'll take them to boxing for an hour and a half or so. And that's run by Muslims, and it seems to be 90% Muslims there. And I was going to leave them there and go, but actually, I've kind of enjoyed just sitting there and watching them and trying to coach them too. And then they've got this in the evening, 6:30. They've got a masjid sort of thing, and we can be there as well. Like, you know, and not just me, but my wife can be in the sister side, and we're all kind of there. It's like, oh, the whole family's here, kind of thing. Oh, if I need something, hey, get my wife over, or take him to the toilet. I'll take this one to like. It's great, and I think society here as well is very anti-family, big family at least. You know, how many disabled bays are there versus family bays in an average car park? Drives me insane. Drives me insane. It's like you've got 200, okay, exaggeration. You've got like 20 disabled bays and like 5 family bays. Why? What's wrong with, you don't want kids, you don't want families, stuff like that, man.
This is the population, though, isn't it? Like, think about it. The UK has a lot of old people, a lot of obese people.
Okay.
They need those bays.
They need their bays.
And there aren't many
like
kids.
you get a family ticket anywhere, and it's like 2 adults, 2 children, and I'm just like,
I'm gonna need 2 of those.
I'm gonna need 2 of those. I was going to take him to Legoland recently.
Oh,
I wanted to. I was just looking at it, like,
I hope you've been
window
there
shopping.
for 10 years. Oh,
Bro, like I saw one. I wanted to do the whole special because Selena's doing really well. Like he's almost fit. Well, I say almost. He's doing really well. It's just Amma, like almost got it down right, and he's doing really well. And the kids are just doing well. I just want to reward them, and yeah, it's like, oh, I wanted the hotel thing that's in the park. So it's all got the Lego stuff, and it was just like, oh, I can't get this. I have to get 2 of them, like 2 of these rooms.
yeah.
And then it just became astronomical, and I thought, no. And then you've got flights to go anywhere. Or I have to wait till half term. Oh, now it's astronomical again. It's like you just get cancelled out. They don't want to live. They want to let us live. I mean,
They don't want us to win, so we're
They
gonna
don't
win
want us to-
more.
we're gonna win more, bro. So the man wants to do a lemonade stand, classic American style. We've got a driveway, so he wants to get it up in the summer. I said, dude, go for it. And you know what? We live on the top of a hill, like a really steep hill. Pain in the butt to walk it up there. By the time you get to the top, you are dying for a drink.
Yeah.
So and we live right at the top, so it's perfect. I said, listen, you got geography on your side.
Great for that, do you think?
I don't know, but I said, listen, I've got Apple thingy on my phone. I've got that pay thing because I've got a business account.
Oh yeah.
I said, boom, boom.
well,
That's it. Not
makes
just
sense.
no one carries cash.
Yeah.
Cash and card, baby. So I think I might get them a parasol.
Oh,
I might
these
sit
3
there.
grams of pop.
Why not? He's like, oh, let's get bottles of lemonade. I said, listen, even better. You get,
I don't
well, lemonade is cheap, but you can get this lemon squash. I get, it's very nice. We'll just mix it up, you know. I get a cooler out with ice. It's gonna be phenomenal.
It's watermelon season. Get that watermelon lemonade.
Oh, see, they're good. They like, you know. That's another thing. Obviously, I learned from you is teaching them about money and teaching them about how to make it and how to spend it and how to save it, and you know, just having that kind of what's the word? There's a word for- yeah, like they I don't just give them money. They've got to do something.
Mm.
And then generally it's not me that gives. They family members give it to them. You know, they don't come up to me and say, "Oh, give me money." Occasionally they do, but stuff like that. You know, lots of little things I'm trying to implement. I don't like taking stuff away from them. I like telling them that I am going to take something away, but they can earn it back through some sort of positive behavior that is beyond the norm. So not just because your kids, they'll say, sorry, please give it back. Or it could be anything. Like, I don't know, they get like 2 hours of PlayStation on a Saturday, right? I could say, no, you're not having that now, or I'm docking an hour. Punishment without the ability to earn it back, I think, is pointless because it doesn't teach the Toba element of things, you know.
Okay.
And it's just a theory I've got in my head, really, but I'm exercising it, and it makes more sense to me because I feel like you've got nothing to lose. So if you've already taken it, and that's kind of boring, but if you've got this hope of earning something, then maybe you could actually do something productive to earn it back and associate that productive behavior with forgiveness, with reward, with earning something. Obviously, I judge whether something's sincere, which is why I don't want the whole, oh, I'm sorry, Dad, or I'm sorry, Mum. That's like, I don't care about that. I don't want, oh, I'm going to clean my room. No, you should be cleaning your room. Or anyway, find something, like I'll tell them, go and ask your mum, something that you can do that's going to help us out and do it well, and it could be, I don't know, sometimes our garden gets really like messy because it's windy up here. They'll clean up the whole garden, pegs get everywhere and stuff. Or it could be hoovering, under the sofa, or, I don't know, taking out the trash or something. They could do that when they're older, but 9 and under, there are other things. And I've seen it, bro. I've seen the fruits. I've seen the fruits of positive behavior. I've seen the fruits of keeping them busy. SubhanAllah, yesterday, Suleiman came home from boxing. He started, what he started doing? He started making tea for the family.
Okay.
Started sweeping up the floor.
Okay.
Started doing all this stuff. And I was like, what's going on?
We should be.
And it was big. But then I was like, oh, he's feeling good and he wants to kind of give back because he's feeling disciplined. He's feeling like this discipline's coming into him, And yeah, I've realized a lot of the problems of kids is just they haven't got much to do. So they end up beating each other up and running up and down the walls. And then you get a bit short with them. You're like, keep it down. And we've got neighbors. And anyway,
I was listening to a Tim Ferriss Q&A recently.
The kidless guy.
He's a kidless guy. And Miskeen, bro, every time he puts about his, he went, I want kids, but I just broke up with my girlfriend.
Oh, of course you did.
Right? So anyway, he said, yeah, someone asked him something about kids, I don't know. He said, yeah, I thought about this a lot and I observed, my friends who have kids and this and that. And he said, 3 things. I think they asked him this question, what 3 things would you like to give your kids or would you do with your kids or something like that? And he said, optimism, I think, resourcefulness. And he said lots and lots and lots of physical activity. And then he said, I know people hate it when I compare children to dogs, but he's like, I know a tired dog is a happy dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you made me think of that.
Oh, bro. And like any brothers that are apprehensive, which I hope there isn't in our culture and our deen, but you just got to go for it, man. Best thing you ever do. And just do it well.
People be apprehensive, I think. There's a lot of anti-kids messaging out there. So, and also it's genuinely not easy as well. So,
And there's this culture, I mean, it's a whole other topic and maybe we haven't got the time, but there is this whole like fascination of the self that we've adopted, which I think as well intentioned as they portray it in the marketing, it's also a little bit too copycat. Like, the whole gym culture and the training culture and you have to be this and you have to like, yeah, of course, look after yourself. But there's an element of realism that you have to accept with that. Like, I feel like people set that as the ultimate goal and neglect the actual reality of being and raising children. I've been trying to go to the gym in as much as I can, which is, when I say as much as I can, my target is 3 days a week for an hour, right? Which to some people will seem not enough. And I only actually managed to do 2 days on average a week. But in those 2 days, I take it seriously and I'm, regimented. But for me, that's like, okay, you know what? I've done the wajib there. And now I can be, I'm available for my kids to do X, Y, Z. But, with the culture of, you got to remember the people, the content creators that are doing that, that's their job, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's exactly those types of people will have you believe that, unintentionally, that
Yeah.
if you're not spending, half an hour journaling, meditating, morning routine, card, even off card, and then gym 3 times a week, and then having time to decompress before the week begins in
Oh,
a
tell me
day
about it.
with an
Yeah.
matcha. And if you don't, go on holiday at least twice a year, if you don't, like, these things are the basics.
Go on a
So that,
yeah.
so if those things are the basics, then it means, oh, if I have kids, I can't do the basics, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Get the
These
beef.
retreats, go on a retreat with the brothers and learn what it means to be a man. All this stuff about learning what to be a man and perform what it is to be a man without actually being the man at home, which, don't let it, like, those elements are good in moderation, but you can't learn moderation from social media. There is none, because people's content is only one thing. So they are not moderated in what's in any shape or fashion.
They will purposely edit out parts, not because they try to, what's it called, deceive you, but because it doesn't fit into their niche, if you like.
It's there. Yeah. I mean, look, your life is a tapestry of all sorts of different things that you do. You've got your work, you've got your cooking, you've got your time with your wife, you've got your kids, you've got all of that. But the social media content creators tapestry is just one thing. It's one color. It's, oh, I'm a gym influencer, or I'm a chef, or do you know what I mean? I'm a fashion guru, whatever you want to call it, or I'm a holiday guy. I travel, and like, they are one trick ponies, a lot of them. So they're showing you one thing and constantly showing it to you, and you're like, oh, this guy's at the gym all the time. I need to be at the gym all the time. Like, what's going on? Oh, I'm slacking. And then, you make that decision. And I've had it before, bro, when I'm like about to go. I'm like, my kids need me for something. And it's like, do I just go because I have to? And, I have to because they said I have to. So I should, for them. I'm doing it for them. I want to protect my kids. Or do I actually spend that hour with him doing his homework or whatever it is? And yeah, you just got to be realistic. You've got to be realistic.
And you got to think for yourself.
Yeah. But also surround yourself with people that, like, alhamdulillah, we're blessed, bro. Me and you, we've got each other to kind of bounce ideas off of every week or 3, or however regularly we do this. And it's a good, like, reality check thing for us, because I might say something that you might not have thought about. You say something I'm not thought about, but it's within the realm and scope of our parent of 4 kids, And I, like, my friends now, I've got one friend, actually, keep him close. He's got 2 kids. I don't really mix with, like, single people or people without kids. And I can't take anyone seriously that's trying to give me advice that doesn't, as soon as they start talking, I'm just not hearing it. I'm not there. So, yeah. But I remember earlier in this, inshallah, next month is going to be my 10-year anniversary with my wife. But I remember earlier on in this parenthood adventure, there was that conflict of, like, oh, I should be, making this much money, and I should have this kind of physique, and this and this and this and this and this. And then it's like, where do you fit in the parenting part and all of that? Because everyone who's teaching you is not a parent. Or at least not an active parent. But anyway, these are topics for another day, I think.
Yeah. Just before we end, I want to say, what you're saying about Legoland and all that.
Yeah.
I think what you need to do, bro, I don't know if you're into this, but you need to embrace camping.
We spoke about it last week, yes. Yeah.
I think you got the van thing.
Yeah.
Minivan. You just need a big tent. And Europe is actually good for that, because the UK will have campsites which would be like 10-20 pounds a night. It's not like, if you go to a hotel, I'm sure with 4 kids they're going to make you book 2 rooms, aren't they?
Yeah.
So with the camping,
you're absolutely right. Yep.
And camping is sick anyway.
Yeah, there was my wife showed me, like, a Muslim camping, I can't remember what it's called, outdoor group thing that's in don't remember what it is. She sent me the link for it. It looked cool. I showed it to a friend of mine. Think he might be interested. But yeah, I wanted to do something like that first with a group.
Yeah.
And then, because I hate camping. That's the reality. Yeah, I just hate waking up outdoors. I can't deal with it.
You're like a Tunisian village guy, bro.
I used to sleep on the roof, but the waking up on the roof was an awful feeling. Falling asleep is amazing, but because you used to wake up with, like, the hot summer sun, like, rising on you and burning you.
Can't be there after bed.
Like, you're turkey bacon on that roof, sizzling, sweating out in a sleeping bag, whatever it was. And it's like, ah, and I just associate that waking up. You know, when you wake up all like rattled, I woke up sizzling. So it was awful. Yeah, I don't have very good experiences waking up outdoors.
I remember
Even
doing that in a wedding. You know, in Algeria, yeah, you go to a wedding. Apparently, it's not like this all over North Africa, but in my ends, weddings finish at Fajr. Okay, so
yeah,
a lot of the time, you're at the wedding. I was at this wedding in a small town. There's no way to get home. It's Fajr.
Yep.
So we just slept on the roof. I woke up with the maddest like throat infection.
yeah, yeah. This is it. Ducks to bed, that's why. They're right. Turn that AC off.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, bro.
But yeah, no, I'm actually dying to camp, bro. And I might.
We did it.
There
Go
are
on.
campsites in Algeria, but
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
not as, straight.
Wallahi, you'd be
So-
surprised.
But-
You'd be surprised.
But I would use those, or when I get inshallah, the 7-seater car, I'll drive to Europe. I'll use the Spanish,
Yeah,
French ones off season, bro.
yeah.
And when everyone's in school and all that, I'll
True.
be born, inshallah.
A few years ago, when Khalid was a baby, we went to a not a yurt. What is it, like almost like glamping, right? It's called glamping, isn't it? So it's like sort of like a tent outside, but it's got a bed in it and stuff. That was good. That was quite a nice experience. And also, it was so open, and there was 2 of these tents in this massive field.
Yeah.
But the other one was empty, so no one had booked it.
Yeah.
So my wife was able to like not even have a hijab on and stuff when we were out there, because you could see if anyone was going to come, you could see 360 from a mile away. It was really, really good, you know. Or you tell her, like I remember having the realization. I was like, oh, if anyone actually came, like as long as you're holding your stuff with you, if anyone came, you could literally just sit down and you'd just be covered in grass and bushes and stuff, right? So yeah, we did that. But I remember it hit 4 a.m. and it became super cold. It was only May, but it became freezing. And we had Khalil, and he started getting sniffles and stuff. And I was just like, oh, I don't like this. So like we cut it a day short. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I think, yeah, like you said, you need to prep for it. You need to have everything.
Yeah.
My kids, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the Outdoor Boys. You've seen that channel on YouTube?
No.
You must have. Really? I only came across it after the guy stopped making videos,
Okay.
which is fascinating. He's, as you can imagine, a guy that takes his sons out camping and foraging and hunting and
Is this
that
in
kind
America
of stuff.
or something?
In America, yeah. Or is it Canada? I think it's America, but maybe it could be Canada.
One of
I
those
don't know.
things.
Yes. Up that way.
Yeah.
But it's really good. And they love it, bro. All the fishing, all the camping, and they sit there glued to it, and then they look at me, they give me that look. Yeah, that longing look of, Dad, can we do this too? And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, inshallah. Yeah, we did, inshallah.
What I want to do, my dad gave me this idea. I want to buy a piece of land just for that.
Really?
Because you could buy because you don't need a big one. You can buy a small piece of farmland for like £1,000, bro, over here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I can buy it, just put some trees for privacy. Obviously, they'll take a while to grow. And then you could just use it for whatever you want. You want to do barbecue, you want to do camping, it's just a place that is sorted, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice idea,
Maybe I'll do it in the garden as a test, a trial.
Oh,
I'll
bro.
do
In the summer weather, that's a no-brainer. Like
yeah.
do it multiple times, Yanni, in the good weather. And then, you get used to the tents and, bro,
Yeah.
is there any like laws against like doing a barbecue in your back garden or whatever? Or is it like full freedom?
Yeah, as long as it's not like a massive bonfire. But yeah, I do barbecues quite often.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet
Yeah.
this summer, but I used to last year.
Yeah.
Bro,
How's-
I am like I say with no shame, I'm the barbecue guy, bro. But yeah, the barbecue to the
Well,
my barbecue basically.
I think next time, I'm saying this, but it's hard to commit to it. But next time I come to UK, inshallah,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna come to you, bro, whether you like it or not. And I'll be waiting
Go
for
for it.
the barbecue, right? But
Yeah.
specifically, because you're a seafood guy, innit? So
Oh yes.
I'm waiting for the seafood.
Bro, honestly, let me sort my barbecue out. I need to clean it out and sort it out and get it back on. Yes. All right then. Should we? It's getting late. Should we pack it up?
Call it an episode. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Nice episode, bro. And see everyone next time. Don't be a stranger in the Telegram group, man.
I'll write something right now.